Destination Nightmare, the B-Movie Podcast.
Now, giant entertainment, giant terror. The War of the Gargantuas and Monster Zero.
Do you see anything?
From a planet 50 million miles beyond the stars came a strange message. Lend us your Rodan and Godzilla to fight our Monster Zero. Earth answers, and the most dreaded creatures ever to walk our planet are lifted into outer space. The stage is set for the mightiest battle ever seen by the universe in Monster Zero.
All forces on Earth ready to attack.
What started out as a call for help from space turns into a nightmare of terror on Earth, Monster Zero. And the War of the Gargantua. It began with a mysterious, wild storm at sea. And before the night was over, the whole world would hear of the terror of the Gargantuas. Where had such a monster come from? What forces created such a devastating destroyer? Who or what could stand up to it? Let him have it. Armies fought the monster with million-volt laser beams.
Hey, look! Another one!
You'll see all of their terrifying battle to the death when you come to the greatest monster movies ever made. The War of the Gargantuas and Monster Zero.
All right. Well, today's movie is War of the Gargantuas, which I think was made...
In America, it's War of the Gargantuas. In Japan, it is...
Frankenstein something?
War of the Frankensteins. Sanda versus Gaira.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
This is a sequel, kind of, to Frankenstein Conquers the World.
Right.
Which is the movie that I saw as a kid in my local movie theater on a double feature with Tarzan and the Valley of Gold.
Wow, cool. Back in
'66. But I don't know when did War come out? Was it 67?
This came out, well, probably in the United States, 1970.
In 70, but it was made before that.
Yeah, it was made in 66.
Okay.
And released in Japan in 66. It was a joint venture between, was it Toho? And UPA.
Right, and by joint venture, you mean they were all high on pot or something?
Yeah, exactly.
This is a strange movie. They tie it in with the other one, in that once because they talk about, Russ Tamblyn was the scientist there. And they have that one scene where they created the little Frankenstein monster or whatever.
Yeah.
But in the one before, it was a kid. I forgot what it was. It was a kid that they found, and I don't remember them creating him. I just remember something. I can't remember. God, I can't remember the other one. They had a kid and they found him, and I don't know if he got radiated or anything, but he started getting gigantic.
Yeah.
And then he became. But this is supposed to be one of the monsters. Is supposed to be that guy who was supposedly killed in the last movie, but they didn't kill him. He just went out to sea or something,
Well, he disappeared into the mountains.
He disappeared in the mountains, and as the story goes, you find out the whole deal, because the story starts out with a storm and in the ocean and a ship and was an octopus.
Yes, so some giant octopus, which we know haunts all the shores of Japan.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Comes out and attacks the ship, and this thing is like at least 300 feet long, or more. And it's attacking the ship, and tentacles are going through, and the the guy piloting the ship, he's screaming and yelling, and and then suddenly the tentacles retreat, and then you see this giant green monster, humanoid monster, fighting with the octopus. He defeats the octopus, like throws it, and then he attacks the ship.
Right.
And he starts like wrestling with it, and he's huge too. And so the guys, you see him sort of sink the ship, and then
he eats one of the guys, right?
Well, he eats all the guys except the one guy who's in bed. So he's a survivor, and the police come in and they're interrogating him.
Yeah, he's in the hospital or something.
Yeah, he's in the hospital, and he's like, well, tell us what happened. He says, a giant green Frankenstein. The Frankenstein attacked. It's a giant green monster, and they're like, oh, come on, tell us the truth. No, it was a giant green monster. So the press picks up the story, and they're like, they go to see the Frankenstein expert, Russ Tamblyn.
Yeah. Who supposedly created the Frankenstein monster in the last movie,
right?
But that one either, like you said, escaped or was in the mountains or was destroyed or something. I don't remember. I didn't. I should have watched the other one, but
according to this movie, it escaped, fled to the mountains, and something happened. They don't really allude to it, but they believe it died.
Is in the last one, if I remember correctly, at the very end, you see the Frankenstein monster fighting. I think it's an octopus, and then you see them like fall into the ground. It's like the ground caves underneath them with fire in the background, and that was it, if I remember correctly. So I don't know if this is the same octopus, but it sure is not the same. It's not the brown Gargantua. The guy in the last one was more human. This one looks more ape-like. Or the green one is at first. The green one is more ape-like. It's a cool monster. I really like this monster, so both of them. But anyway. So yeah, the crew, the Gargantua, there's another scene afterwards where the Gargantua chases another boat, and then they find like clothes on the ground or something with bite marks in it.
Yeah, it's another scene where you have two fishermen, and then something stops their boat. It's holding their net, and the one guy looks into the water, and you see the monster,
Yeah, that's a cool scene.
Looking up at them. That was like creepy.
Yeah.
And so he eats. Yeah, they find the boat, and then they keep trying to blame the Frankenstein monster for these attacks, and Russ Tamblyn and
Kumi Mizuno, his assistant.
Yeah, they're like, oh no, it can't be because he wouldn't hurt people. He was very gentle, and
they have a flashback when you see him when he was a small little ape-like monster. He's real cuddly and
and he's like he's playing with her purse, and she's like, oh, you naughty monster things.
Yeah. Yeah, then, right. They're basically They're basically saying he never hurt anybody, he never killed anybody, And
in the meantime, they found giant footprints in the Japanese Alps. So Russ Tamblyn and his assistant, they go off to the Alps to try to investigate if that's Frankenstein. And then the other scientist, he goes to the ocean to investigate that monster. As of right now, we think they're both the same monster.
Well, there's a scene also where like they find on the ship some membranes of the monster, and they say, well, this looks like it's the same as your monster.
Yeah, the same cellular structure.
The same cellular structure, So like you said, they see the footprints and stuff like that, and then it cuts the scene where the green one now is like coming up to land, and he invades an airport. He starts like swinging at ships, and then goes into the freaking a building, and people run out, and he grabs a woman and he like eats her or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it
oh
spits out the
shit.
clothes.
Yeah, right. Then he goes back. He goes back
And
to
then
the sea
yeah,
after that.
It's a cloudy day and the sun starts to come out and he's all like, "Rrrr." So then he runs back into the ocean.
Yeah. And then Tamblyn and Mizuno get to Tokyo and there's like there's always reporters waiting for him to talk to him or whatever and asking him questions, and somehow I forgot how they did. They figure out that the green monster is sensitive to bright lights. So
They
like that's one of his like.
They did. Yeah, they did. They're just talking with the military, and I think they figured out that somehow they figured out
that it like freaks out, and then they talk about the cells, and then the cells may have regenerated from something else. They don't know. They think that monster cells might be regenerating because of what happened with the experiment with the other one or whatever. So then they cut to like one of my favorite parts, where there's like there's a musical number. There's like people out in
oh my god, yeah,
with the musical number out in whatchamacallit,
they're in Tokyo.
Yeah, they're in Tokyo and they're like in a club or something.
Some club, and it's a balcony outdoor seating.
And you got Kip Hamilton, who's the lady.
Yeah, oh my god, who's singing? If ever you needed auto-tune,
who's singing the classic? Well, it's the song is actually called in the record "Feel in My Heart," but she keeps saying the words get stuck in my throat. So, that's a better title than "Feel in My Heart." But at any rate,
so she's singing badly. Then, as she's singing, everybody the monster comes up behind her, and everybody runs away. So he picks her up, and he's going to eat her. And then everybody's like, turn on the lights. So the monster suddenly he drops her and kills her.
Yeah.
And he flees into the mountains.
Now, one thing we should mention about this movie that's going to, like, if anybody watches it later, it could either make it really funny for you or it'll annoy you or whatever, but especially the green guy. If you notice when the monster shrieks, it sounds like he's saying, shit! Shit! All the time. This was picked up by our friend CK, who I'll tell you the story. We were over at his cousin's house, and we were watching this, and it was like 4 or 5 was watching this, and CK goes, "Is the monster saying shit?" And it's like, it kind of sounds like it. And dude, that green guy doesn't stop saying it all throughout the movie. Whenever he's like gets hit or whenever he's in piss, he's like, shit. So how they got away with that one on television, I don't know. But this movie has the most shits I've ever heard said in a movie. But at any rate, yeah, the monster heads for the mountains. Yeah.
So they
the army goes out there.
They're evacuating villages, and the army's going out. They're going to shoot him with lasers and electrocute him.
Yeah, right.
So he's running around, and
they send helicopters out and stuff.
Yeah, they get set up and doing stuff, and then they sort of, with the helicopters, which he crushes too in the third one.
Yeah, because they kept swinging around him, and finally he figured out, hey, I need to jump a little higher to get these assholes. So he does. He goes, maybe I'll get a little bit more oomph, and he grabs a couple of them,
So then they sort of guide him into this ravine where there's a river, and then they start shooting him with lasers. And he's
I think first they start shooting at him. It doesn't do anything, and then he starts grabbing tanks and just throwing them at houses or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh boy.
So then they start shooting him with lasers, and they're cutting down. That was actually a good effect, because as he's trying to run away, the lasers are like following him, and they're cutting down trees and stuff. So then he goes into the river, and then they had put some power cables. They ran wires into the river, and they started electrocuting him.
Right.
And then suddenly this brown gargantuan Frankenstein jumps in the way, and he starts helping him, and he's waving the army away, and they're all shocked, and they stop, and he pulled the wires out of the water so it wouldn't electrocute the green Frankenstein. And then he sort of carries the green Frankenstein away.
Yeah.
So
and the green Frankenstein's like all beat up from all the. He's like bleeding.
Yeah,
and
he's all bleeding, and yeah. So you find out he's for some reason they tell you that they named the brown mountain Frankenstein Sanda.
And the other one's a water guy, right? The green one's more of an aquatic guy, right? The green one.
The green guy is Gaira.
Yeah, something like that.
So the Russ Tamblyn and the other scientists are out there looking, and they find some tissue in the water, and they theorize, like you said, that somehow some tissue, the brown Frankenstein mountain guy, he somehow got hurt, and because he's radioactive, the tissue fell in. I guess the water goes into the sea, and the tissue went into the sea and lived off plankton until it grew into the giant green Frankenstein monster.
Yeah.
And so they're out. So Russ Tamblyn and his assistant, they're on a hiking trip.
Right.
And
she kind of they're looking around and
they're with other hikers and they're running around, and then the green monster, the Gaira, comes, and he goes to attack the hikers, and so everybody runs away, and then the assistant, she slips and falls and is hanging by a branch, and Russ Tamblyn's trying to save her. In the meantime, Russ Tamblyn's voice has been dubbed into English by another actor who has a deeper voice.
Okay, I'll tell you something about that, because my friend told me about this. The original version of this, the one that was AIP, this is an international dub. The original one, they actually got Russ Tamblyn to dub his own voice.
Right.
But this is the one that's like Janus Films, that's out now or whatever. This is a dubbing that was done I guess it was done in Japan.
Yeah.
And it was for international audiences that spoke English. But AIP would a lot of times hire their own guys in New York to redo it to the specification. And they got Tamblyn. I think he said they actually tricked Tamblyn to go back and do it again because he didn't want to do it. And then he wanted to redo the lines, and I don't know. He was problematic apparently.
Yeah,
but they got him to dub his lines.
Yeah, in the international version that we watched, the voice actor was Goro Mutsumi.
So it was a Japanese doing his voice.
Yeah, it was a Japanese doing his voice.
Interesting.
And it was much deeper and everything. So anyway, Russ Tamblyn's trying to save her because she's hanging off a cliff, and he shouts out to her, "Don't go anywhere, hold on!" And she's like hanging from a branch, and I'm thinking, what the hell is she gonna go?
Yeah, really, yeah.
So she's about to fall, and the brown Frankenstein Sanda saves her and puts her back on a cliff. Because even at this stage, they're not sure because the brown Frankenstein helped the green Frankenstein, they're not sure if
he's good or bad.
He's good or bad, right?
But there's a connection. They're trying to set up a connection between Kumi and the Frankenstein monster. Like they have like a little bit of a bond or something like that. Like like a King Kongish thing or whatever.
Yeah, like a King. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're trying to say. So then also the brown Frankenstein monster injures his leg. It's a big rock falls on him as he's trying to save her. So then they're trying to convince the military that only the green guy is evil, the brown guy is good, and they're like, no, we got to kill them both.
Yeah. And he tells them, look, if you destroy them both, their cells could regenerate all over the place. Yeah. You're gonna have 1,000 of these monsters.
Yeah, because originally they want to blow them up.
Yeah.
So then they're going to do napalm and destroy all the oxygen in the area.
Right.
Whatever. And then then you see like an image of an empty boat. in the water, and then you see the brown Frankenstein comes to the green Frankenstein, who's laying back. He's all wounded and resting, and then the brown Frankenstein sees the chewed up clothes, so it's obvious that the green Frankenstein monster
got hungry.
Went out. He got hungry, killed people on boats, and ate them and spit the clothes out. So then.
So to the green one, people are like hors d'oeuvres, you know. It's like just eats them and spits out the wrapper and just like whatever.
So then
the brown one is a vegetarian, I'm assuming, right?
I guess. I mean, you don't see him eat any meat or anything.
No, I think the brown one is. I'm assuming. Maybe I heard that he was supposed to be like a vegetarian, but the green one is a carnivore. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just
makes sense.
Yeah.
So they start. The green monster grabs a tree and pulls it out of the ground and starts hitting the green monster, and they start fighting, and they're fighting back and forth, and the green monster sort of breaks away and he escapes into Tokyo, and then everybody is like, you know, they're all running and they all have to go into the subway. I gotta say, the subways in 1966 Tokyo look very nice.
Yes, they sure do. Very clean.
Yeah. So anyway, everybody's going into the subway, and Akimi wants the assistant wants to save. She still wants to save the brown one because she has
Because she says he's good. He's not like evil. He doesn't kill. He's a harmless. But I don't know what I mean. He seemed to be the more sympathetic. Like when they had a fight scene, he didn't want to fight, except for when he got pissed off and he wanted to beat him up because he ate people or whatever.
Yeah. So there's a big evacuation, but Akimi and Russ Tamblyn, they go and try to... Kumi, is that her name?
Yeah, her name is Kumi Mizuno. That's her real name, but it might have been Akimi in the... It might have been Akimi in the
Kumi. All right,
in the movie. So whatever, you know.
Russ Tamblyn and Kumi go, and they go looking for him, and they see the green one coming, so they hide in the subway, and
the green one sees him, and he starts sticking his hand in the subway.
Yes, he's trying to get them, and then she sees legs and mistakes it for the brown one, so she goes running up and goes, oh, and the green one grabs her, picks her up, but then the brown one comes running in, and so he drops her, and she has to go into hospital because she fell from a great height onto stone steps. So then the green monster and the brown one, they start fighting all over Tokyo, knocking over buildings, and eventually they end up in the ocean fighting, and then they start fighting, and they're still fighting. They end up going out to sea, and then they're fighting, and then you have helicopters trying to bomb them, and then suddenly a volcano erupts underwater.
Conveniently.
And it erupts around the monsters fighting, and this big volcano rises up, and all this smoke and stuff. And then it looks like it kills both monsters. So, the two Russ Tamblyn and Kumi are there. Like, I wonder.
She's in the hospital.
Yeah, she's in the hospital
recuperating or whatever. She's all bandaged up.
Bandaged, yeah. And the other scientist comes in. Russ Tamblyn goes, I wonder if they survived out there. And the other scientist says, well, we had to break off our search because of the intense heat, but nothing could have survived there. And then that Japanese symbol comes up, which I assume says the end.
The end, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool movie.
Yeah,
one of my favorites.
A lot of fun. Yeah. Now, I remember seeing the American version, which had some slightly different scenes in it when I was a little kid in black and white.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, and this movie's difficult in black and white because the monsters, except for like the nose.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
The green one has a more monkey-like nose and pointed teeth, tusks. Except for that.
You look the same, huh?
Yeah, and it was hard as hell to tell the difference sometimes, what was going on.
The green one was meaner looking.
Yeah. Yeah, he had some weird nose. He looked like, if you look at Japanese prints of demons and monsters, they have this sort of weird monkey-like nose with the nostrils flaring off to the sides and tusks.
Yeah.
And the brown one looked more human.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, they still had they had the square Frankenstein.
Yeah, the
head.
square.
There's like a combination between a Frankenstein monster and King Kong or something.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. But yeah, I never thought about that. If you're watching in black and white, they both are very similar. So you think that they're twins. But the green, the color one separates them. So you know who's the quote good one and who's the bad guy or whatever.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you saw this in black and white, probably in the 60s.
That and also Frankenstein Conquers the World. Saw that in black and white too as a kid.
Oh, you did see it on TV? Okay.
Yeah, TV. Yeah, probably in the 70s or so.
I've never. Did I ever see Frankenstein Conquers the World on TV? I don't remember. I think I have a DVD that I got of it besides the one that's on the theater, but it might have played on TNT or something. I don't know, but maybe in New York it played, like you said, you saw it and you saw it in black and white as well.
Yeah. Well, I only had a black and white TV set up until I don't know the mid 70s.
Oh wow!
Something like that.
So you saw a lot of stuff in black and white.
Yeah.
Then when you see it in color, it's like watching another movie or something. You're going like,
exactly.
Wow,
it was so this time it was easy to tell them apart.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of like this one better because it's not lizards. It's not animals, and giant animals are fine. But I like the humanoid creatures. Kind of look cooler because they have the eyes. You can see their eyes, and like when you see the eyes, it's like, oh wow, there's something there that that's not just like a big giant lizard or whatever, some kind of a human thing. And then the fights were good, the effects were for the most part good. This is one of my favorite ones of all the Tohos. I like it better than Frankenstein Conquers the World, which has like a Nazi subplot to it or whatever. This one was a little bit simpler to watch. The other one has a lot of weird subplots and I don't know. Something about if I remember correctly, the other one, something about they saved the heart of Frankenstein. The Nazis, something about the Nazis saving the heart of Frankenstein, and like they make they do something with this kid. I should have looked it up. As a matter of fact, let me look it up now because it's like it was a really strange storyline for that one. This is a lot.
Yeah, it says during World War II, Nazi Germany officers confiscate the living heart of the Frankenstein monster and then pass it on to the Imperial Japanese Navy.
And then somehow it gets into a kid or something.
They bring it to Hiroshima, and after doing the experiments, the atom bomb is dropped on Hiroshima. And then 15 years later, a feral boy runs rampant in the streets of Hiroshima, capturing and devouring small animals. And then they find the boy hiding in the cave, cornered by outraged villagers, and they take the boy in, and they discover he has a strong resistance to radiation.
Did they put Frankenstein's heart in him or something like that?
No, I think that you find out the kid grew, I guess because of the radiation, the heart grew into the kid somehow.
Yeah, it's bizarre. And that kid in that movie looked nothing like the little ape kid in For the Gargantuas, They try to tie it in, but they don't look anything, to me, as well alike at all.
Well, in the American version of World of Gargantuas, they never mention Frankenstein. They call them Gargantuas.
So this one does mention Frankenstein.
So this one does mention Frankenstein.
Okay. Yeah. So the American version is separating the two movies. This one tries to tie them in a little bit. The other one
which was odd because if you look at the Frankenstein, it's Frankenstein versus Baragon, which is what it's called in the...
Which was the Frankenstein Conquers the World.
Right.
Because there's a Baragon monster in the other one too, like a light bulb head monster or whatever.
Yeah, in Frankenstein Conquers the World, he's human, except he's got the flat head of Frankenstein.
Yeah, the Frankenstein head, yeah.
But in this one, even though they call him Frankenstein, he looked like a little monkey boy.
Yeah, and it was just like they just showed that scene where they said they created him. They didn't. I don't remember if they even said how, but he looked like a Planet of the Apes, creature or something like that in this movie.
Yeah.
So in a way, the tie-in is whatever. It's not
tenuous at best.
Tenuous at best, yeah. But still, I like this movie better because you get two monsters, and they're cool monsters. I mean, you did get Baragon in the other one, and in some version of the other one, at the end, there's a giant octopus. I'm not sure if that's in the American version or if it's in the Japanese version. But somehow they stuck another monster at the end just because somebody said, hey, I want a giant octopus. Okay, and then that octopus does kind of, it does tie it in the sense that octopus does show up in the beginning of it and a monster fights him. So I guess that's another link between the two.
Yeah, another link. Now, apparently, Nick Adams was supposed to star in this. And then Tab Hunter.
Tab Hunter would have been weird.
At the very last moment, they hired Russ Tamblyn.
And Russ Tamblyn is still alive, by the way. He's one of the guys from that era, including Jack Nicholson, who is still, alive from doing movies in the late 50s and the 60s and beyond. So, Tamblyn had a weird career. He ended up doing a lot of B movies, like Al Adamson movies, and then he had career resurgence again in I think he was in Twin Peaks or one of those movies.
Like some doctor, I forget the doctor's name.
Yeah.
He wore the two glasses, like the 3D glasses with the two different lenses.
Yeah, he wasn't in Blue Velvet. They had Dennis Hopper and Dean Stockwell, but I think they got him for Twin Peaks. So
Yeah.
But he's still around. I don't know what he does now, but I mean, good for him. He's one of the guys that's still hanging in there. So. But yeah, I guess in the international version of this, there are more connections, maybe.
Yeah.
It makes a little more sense, maybe, than the other one. I don't know.
Well, it makes even more sense if you kind of see Frankenstein Conquers the World than this movie, because then you got more, except for the... See, if they didn't show that scene, maybe if they showed the scene, instead of a little monkey boy, they showed a little Frankenstein boy.
The kid from the other movie. It would have been a stronger tie-in.
It would have made a little more sense and seemed more like a sequel.
Yeah.
I guess as he grew older, he grew hairier or something because he was in the mountains or something like that.
Yeah, the UPA was they co-produced this, and I think they co-produced a few other ones. In the 60s, but I think Toho has the rights back to all these. So, when I think when the rights reverted back to Toho, they stopped using the American dubs, which is what UPA did and AIP did, and they used their own international dubs that they had commissioned back in when the movie came out or whatever. So, I think the American dubs are better myself. But Toho wants more control. You know what I mean? If they put it out with the American dub, they figure they might lose some control, or they have to pay money to AIP or to somebody. So they just said, no, we're just gonna. What's funny to me is that these are now Janus Films. Janus Films used to be like art movies.
Yeah, they used to. Yeah, I used to like see some like really weird movies on PBS.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Janus Films used to be. What's his face? The Swedish director, Bergman. There used to be Bergman movies and like really, like The Virgin Spring or whatever. Now it's Godzilla. Okay, cool. Whatever. I guess those are classic movies now. They're definitely classic movies now. They're 60 years old or whatever. But
Janus Films is credited with introducing. Numerous films now considered masterpieces to American audiences, including films of Michelangelo, Antonioni, Sergio Eisenstein, Ingmar Bergman, Federico Fellini, Akira Kurosawa, Yachi Ray, Francois Truffaut. Yeah, I mean, a lot of
foreign.
Like the Seventh
movies.
Seal.
Where, right.
Guy plays.
Where he plays chess with death or whatever.
With death. So, I guess they're just following. Hey, this is.
That's the same with another movie company, Kino Films. Kino Films, if I remember correctly, back when they started, they used to do a lot of silent movies like Vampire and Nosferatu and all that. And now they're released on Blu-ray all the AIP stuff and all the 60s monster things. Well, not all, but some. So they're kind of getting into that because I guess they're still doing foreign films, I imagine, but they've already exhausted, I guess, all of their their classics or the new wave or Ingmar Bergman ones or whatever. So now we'll do AIP. We'll put them out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, also a lot of people adults grew up with these movies, so they're not really mainstream. So I guess maybe in some crowds these are considered art kind of movies.
Yeah, now they are. Now that in a weird way they are. Now they back then they were considered crap movies.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to see Frankenstein Conquers the World. I talked my dad into taking me, my mom, and my dad was heckling this movie in the theater when I was there in Spanish. He was making fun of it, and I was like so embarrassed. Like, stop it! And he's like, "It's a light bulb monster. What are you talking about?" This is Baragon from the original Frankenstein Conquers the World. He did like Tarzan and the Valley of Gold. Because that's one of those Tarzan movies. I think, what's his face? He played him. Mike Henry played him, and there's a couple of movies that they did in the '60s with Tarzan where they tried to make Tarzan look a little James Bondish. You see him in a suit every once in a while and stuff. Yeah. So I think my dad liked that one a lot better than. Yeah. And I, of course, liked Frankenstein Conquers because why I wanted to see it because it was on the cover of Famous Monsters.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I saw that, and then I saw it was playing in my local theater, which is a block away from my house, so I had to go, That Famous Monsters, man, because of Famous Monsters, I saw Frogs played in my local theater, Tales from the Crypt played in my local theater. Whatever Famous Monster had on the cover, if it was playing in my local, the Palm Springs Theater in Hialeah, I would inevitably be there on the weekend. Either with a friend or my parents.
Famous Monsters was great, but that was one of those top shelf, at least in my area. That was a top shelf magazine.
You couldn't reach it? You couldn't get it?
No, I couldn't get at it. You had to ask the store owner, and that was up there with like the detective and crime stuff,
and
the
Stag and Men's Magazine.
Yeah, that kind of. So I mean, you didn't even. But I would remember looking up at the covers and being like enthralled by the pictures. The one I remember most was they had that Outer Limits one with that weirdo monster with the orange one with the lobes on his head and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was out of reach, and then, plus I couldn't afford them.
Not in my neighborhood, man. I remember there was either they used to sell those at the Yû which was a convenience store or gold chain that's gone, and at the Rexall drugstores, which was a little further away from my house, and my dad would take me there. But they were on not on spinner racks, but on shelves. They had like a 2 or 3 tiered shelves with all their magazines, and you would have. I remember. I mean, I'm looking at it in my brain right now. You go there on the bookshelf. It would be on the left. You would have Creepy, Eerie, Famous Monsters, blah blah blah. And as you keep going further to the right, you start seeing Stag, For Men Only, and it was right there. They didn't have Playboy, and Playboy or nothing were there, but the sweat mags as they call them, they were there. I don't know. I'm sure they wouldn't have sold them to me, but they were not out of reach. They were within.
Wow, that's cool.
Even at the Yû it was even better because you could actually, if they weren't looking, you could actually read them and see the pictures and crap. Cool. You know what I mean? So they did not do that here.
That is cool.
Maybe at a newsstand they would, but I don't remember ever not. As a matter of fact, we did have a newsstand there, and I remember they used to have all the monster magazines together, but then they would separate, the newsstand we used to go to would separate the sweat mags to another area, but not that Rexall, man. It was just like, boom, there they are.
Cool.
You know, I couldn't buy them, or I never tried to, because my dad was taking me, and he would go like, "What the hell did you buy?" As a matter of fact, I got to take a swig because I'm coughing now. As a matter of fact, I remember the day that I bought Vampirella #1.
Yeah.
And it was right there, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I had to get another quarter or something from my dad, so, and they sold it to me.
Yeah.
And with that kind of sexy Frazetta cover, and I'm like, okay. So I brought it into the car, and my dad takes a look at it. He goes, "Let me see that." He's thinking I'm buying a dirty magazine, and he starts looking through it, and he goes, "Oh, it is comics. Oh, no problem. There you go." But he actually inspected it, like, what the hell? You know, and the place that sold it to me, I didn't care.
Well, they probably looked at it too and was like, "Yeah, it's just a comic book."
He might have gone, "Hey, let's see what pictures are in this," you know. The kids that chip off the old block or whatever, you know.
I can remember going into, we had moved to Long Island, and I went into a stationery store asking if they sold magazines and stuff, and because I was looking for Planet of the Apes. It was a black and white.
I remember those. I bought them.
Curtis. And I asked her, and I think she thought I was looking for girly magazines, so she got this really like shocked look and said, "No, we don't sell those kind of magazines." I was like, "Ooh, sorry."
Man.
Jeez. And then I went to a drugstore, and they were on the spinner rack, so it's like,
yeah, it's like the first Planet of the Apes magazine. I remember, again, vivid memory. I remember driving my bike. There was a convenience store behind the movie theater, and they had it there. I remember my bike had a little basket, buying it, putting it on the basket, taking it home, and loving it. Yeah. You know, they would not. I mean, I'm guessing they wouldn't give me. I'm guessing they wouldn't have sold me as a 12 or 13-year-old a men's mag. I'm guessing.
No.
But anything else was fair game. I mean, I never tried. I never tried as a young kid. Mad, I would get all those eerie, creepy Vampirella, Famous Monsters. I would get those. It wasn't until like 13 or 14 that we went to another store. I've told this story before, maybe not here, maybe on the other podcast, but skipping school, there was a department store called the Treasury. They had a newsstand, and they had every dirty magazine you can imagine for viewing. Penthouse, Wii, Hustler, Playgirl, the whole 9 yards. And we were skipping school, and my friend goes, "Hey, I dare you to buy this Penthouse." And I'm like, "They're not going to sell this to me." And he goes, "I'll take it. I'll buy it." And we were like 13. He goes up to the register, and some young woman sells it to him, and we were like, "Oh my God." We just hit the jackpot. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, oh God.
Oh man, we got back to his house, and we just like, every page was like, "Oh my God." And we even read the record reviews. It was like, "Oh my God." It was unbelievable. Before that, I would never thought that anybody would sell us anything.
Right.
They did. Some people would. I guess the woman
would.
I guess the girl behind the counter was like, "What am I going to do?" You know what I mean? It's like, you're talking 70s, you know, so it was a different time from now.
I can remember sometime like the late 60s. My brother must have been like 15. He brought in a creepy magazine or eerie or something like that.
Oh, cool.
And my mom giving him hell for it.
Yeah, I've heard so many stories of moms like, "You're gonna get nightmares. You can't buy this or whatever."
Yeah, that kind of stuff, and and they were. My mom was like, look at some of the stuff, because they used to have like bubblegum cards with monster pictures on them.
Monsters were big back then.
Yeah. The models I would buy, and she just worried about me sometimes. I worry. I remember once telling, I worry sometimes, like, Roddy's going to come out with his little sister's brain in his hand saying, "Look what I did, Mom."
Roddy.
But they were watching Frankenstein.
Roddy Frankenstein. No, I mean, I do have to say that there was one cover. There were a couple of images in Creepy and Famous Monsters that I remember scaring the heck out of me. I do remember. But that's when I was like, I don't know, 9, 8. by the time I was 10 or 11, it was just whatever, it was just, I was more worldly.
Yeah, I can remember, I was young, I was probably about 8, and used to they had these monster cards, and it was...
Creature feature or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, and it had a picture of the monster on it, and then like a word balloon.
With a gag.
And on the back, like a gag thing. And on the back, it would have like a little horror story. And on the back of one, on the front was the Martians from Earth. What is it? Something about flying saucers. They were like
the invasion of the Saucermen.
Yeah, and it had some funny saying. I don't remember, but on the back there was a story of a guy. He went to bed and he dreamed about being attacked by Indians, and he woke up and he found a couple of arrows in his mattress. And for some reason, that scared the hell out of me. I don't know why.
Oh, that's weird.
But I got so freaked out, I threw the card out because it's like and I don't know why it scared me. But I think because everybody was like, "You're gonna," they kept like priming you. You're gonna have nightmares. You're gonna have nightmares.
Yeah, they're setting you up for the fall or whatever. Then you're gonna have
exactly. Them. You have nightmares. It's like, well, duh. Can you blame me? You're gonna have nightmares. You're gonna have nightmares.
There was one picture that really used to freak me out in the back of Creepy, and it was on all the warrants. It was, I'll put it on the slide presentation when I post this show. And it was in the back of the book, and it was an ad for, I think it was a novelization of Dorian Gray, and it had this makeup of this rotted face, and it was like Dick Smith was the sculptor, and it was like, it looked so real to me that I would always like try to like avoid that page, you know what I mean? It was like, oh no. And then London After Midnight, that makeup used to scare the crap out of me.
With all the little sharp pointed teeth.
Yeah, and the shaggy hair and the top. I used to scare the crap out of me too. Those two were the main culprits of my.
It's funny when sometimes skulls always used to scare the hell out of me. And I remember there was one movie, the 4 Skulls of Jonathan Drake.
We watched it for the show here.
Yeah, which we watched it. But I can remember watching that and seeing the guy's in the bedroom and he sees the skulls coming up. Scared the hell out of me. And I don't. What the hell's a skull going to do to you?
The one that maybe I didn't tell it on Destination Nightmare. Oh shit! Oh no, I thought I spilled ink on my shirt. It's a little pattern. It's a little emblem sewn in there. Anyway, I was like, oh shit! Did I see this drawn still? No, it's some kind of emblem. It looks like an insect or something. It's an emblem. It's not a real bug that I killed. But anyway, there was a TV show called Nightmare Theater, and it was in my area. It was in the early 60s. Well, no, it was in Miami. I think it was from 65 through 69 or 70. I don't know, but it was a late night Saturday horror show, and I didn't know anything about it. So one day I'm sitting there, I'm watching. I saw the promo scared the crap out of me. It scared me so that I didn't. The promo was so good at scaring the crap out of me that it stopped me from watching the freaking show. So that's how dumb. Again, I was like 6 or 7, I don't know, but it was. I'm just sitting there watching some Saturday afternoon something, and all of a sudden it's like the screen, it goes to commercial. The screen turns black, and you see this like. It starts out real small, this like optical wheel. And as it gets bigger, you see this disembodied face, and he's like, "I'm the ghostly host of Nightmare Theater." And I lost it. I ran out of the room, and like, I told my parents, "Don't put on Channel 10 when I'm here because I don't want to see this again." And they didn't care; they would put it on anyway. So I remembered it was like I saw that once, and then I didn't see it for a while. Yeah. Son of a gun, I'm sitting there, and it's like in the summer, and there was a morning show, kids show called Banjo Billy. Freaking during commercials, I think it was during Banjo Billy. It was either during Banjo Billy or when the show ended and it went to. They used to have after Banjo Billy. They used to have a syndicated. Man, I can't believe I remember all this. They used to have a syndicated. I think it was the Gypsy Rose Lee show. She had some kind of a talk show. Banjo Billy was like 8 in the morning, and then Gypsy started at 9, or I don't know. Anyway,
Right.
but anyway, freaking banjo ends. All of a sudden, the screen goes black again, and there's the promo,
Oh,
and I'm
God.
like, "You bastard! You did this during a kids show, you whore!" I never watched the show.
Yeah.
If they wouldn't have scared the crap out of me, it was Saturday at night at 1 or something in the morning. Maybe I would have stayed out with my mom or something and watched it, but they scared the crap out of me so bad I never even watched it. I mean, I constantly scour the internet I could never find a clip of it. I actually found somebody that worked for Channel 10, and the guy had me talk to another guy who worked on the show, and he goes, "Oh yeah, that was stupid." And I'm like, "Not for me. It scared the crap out of me. I can't find a clip. I can't find anything. I need closure." But it's like one of these shows that, you know, back then when they recorded things on tape, they would erase them.
Yeah. What was the name of the show?
It was called Nightmare Theater. It was from Miami, and it was in the mid to late 60s. I've gone through Google newspapers and found listings for it, telling me a lot of the movies that were on there, but it seems like at somewhere around 69 or maybe 70, it stopped. But what was really interesting was, I guess this channel, Channel 10, which was the ABC affiliate, on Saturday nights would show a movie after the news at 11:30. Then that movie would end, and then Nightmare Theater would come on. Then when Nightmare ended, they had all-night mystery movies. It was very interesting because I was a little kid, but if I would have been a little older, I might have actually watched them because they would show, you know, Charlie Chan, Boris Karloff.
Cool.
So I guess that channel on Saturday nights was all night long movies.
Wow, that's cool.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, back then that was rare because a lot of channels went off the air.
Yeah.
Like around 12 or 1 a lot of times.
Yeah, if you go to Google newspapers, and another thing that was very interesting that I found out was I was looking through. I couldn't find the Miami listings because I guess those newspaper archives you got to pay for them. But for a while there, I was finding the West Palm Beach listings, and they had the Miami listings of all these shows. So I was like, oh wow, Nightmare Theater. I was saving them, you know, screenshotting them or whatever. And then all of a sudden, it's like they got rid of the West Palm Beach because I guess they started selling them. But I noticed and then I said, well, let me look at. Okay, here's Sarasota listings. Here's, you know, Tampa. Here's listings. Here's what I noticed was in small area. I didn't know this at the time. This would have been in the early 70s. No, this might have been in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the late 60s, maybe early 70s, they had cable TV. Because I'm seeing listings for, mostly probably in the 70s, but like channels in, say, St. Petersburg, Orlando, Ocala, they would show the listings for the Miami channels. And I'm like, how the hell did the Miami channels, did they have such antennas they could reach? No, they had cable TV because if you're living in a rural area, it seems to me, the only way you can watch TV is to have a satellite, you know. So I think Cox or something like that had it. So if you had cable, like say in Orlando, St. Petersburg, in the early 70s, if you had cable because you couldn't get any channels, they didn't have HBO, they didn't have any of that crap. So they would give you channels from Miami all through West Palm Beach. And if you look at what they were showing for a few years, you'd have horror shows from Miami, you'd have a horror show from Orlando, you'd have a horror show from Tampa, you'd get a horror show from Jacksonville. It was amazing. But again, you didn't have a VHS, but it was B movies galore, you know what I mean? Monsters galore, especially on Saturdays and Friday nights. So it was very interesting if you look at the Google newspaper, which I think are still free if they're still available. I don't know, I have a link to them or whatever, but and another thing I remember, it was like the one movie listing that I remember, I was looking through because even as a kid I would look through the TV guide. Yeah. And I was always fascinated by what movies were playing, and I remember like seeing Nightmare Theater, and they would play a movie called The Headless Ghost, and I'm like, oh god, The Headless Ghost, oh my god. It's a dopey movie, but at the time it would be like the creepiest thing I ever saw or whatever, you know. But
I used to do that too. I used to go through the TV guide and I would look for adventure, thrillers, melodramas, because sometimes melodramas were good, science fiction and horror.
Yeah.
And fantasy. Very rarely did they have fantasy movies.
I remember I would go with my parents. Friday nights they would get paid. They would go cash their check. They would go to they would get, it was Friday. They would go to the supermarket.
Yeah.
And then as you're going through the checkout, I would grab the TV guide and just throw it in there.
Yeah.
And just like, oh, let's see what they're playing this week. And then I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, like Saturday, in the 70s, Saturdays were like creature feature, wrestling, Soul Train, and then they might show you even another creature feature at night, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don Kirshner's rock concert. It was really, we took it for granted how cool.
Yeah.
We took for granted how cool maybe 3 or 4 channels could actually be. How much cool stuff. Whereas now you have 8 million channels, and most of them are garbage.
It's still crap. There's still nothing on.
Which adds to the adage of less is more.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I know we're sounding like old geezers, but and of course every town, New York, Boston, Chicago, even Midwest, they all had their local shows, their local horror hosts, their local creature features, and they would show different movies. So it was so cool. Now you get to meet TV with Svengoolie every Saturday, which is great. But the local stuff is what was really, really the best.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Another thing is they would play different older series. So like one channel, I think it was Channel 9, used to play old Topper TV shows.
Yeah.
Leo T. Carroll and I forget the other 2 people. And then like Channel 11, you would see like some Laurel and Hardy shorts or Abbott and Costello movies.
Sure,
Channel
on Sundays, Bowery Boys.
Channel 5 would show the Bowery Boys, and so you got like a different flavors of different, now everything's kind of the same. And and a lot of the older stuff, which is really entertaining, you have to really look for, because some of the modern stuff stinks.
Yeah, I mean, Roku has all these channels. I was watching Bat Masterson today. They have Wild Wild West every night on one of these channels. So you kind of see all that stuff, but it's just like we're just going back. There's nothing really that great forward or whatever. You know what I mean? Just going back. There's still a few shows that I haven't seen in a million years, but a lot of them pop up here and there. Like some channel was playing Ozzie and Harriet on there. Like, I haven't seen that since
There's some one thing I do, like MeTV does this a lot. They'll play, and some of the other channels, they'll play big blocks of a show.
Yeah.
Like you'll turn on I don't know, USA or whatever, and you'll see it's like the
SVU, like 12 hours of SVU.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to say. Or you go on MeTV, it's like 2 hours of MASH.
Yeah.
I'm not a MASH fan.
Me
but
neither.
even shows I like, it's like, I mean, you have so many shows available. You have to play the same freaking show.
Well, they're doing like Sunday nights now. MeTV, they're doing 2-hour block of All in the Family. Okay, fine. But we really need a 2-hour block. Come on, 1 hour, maybe 2 episodes.
Ugh, not even that.
I know, and I do like Monk. They show a lot of, like on Hallmark, which is one of the channels we get for free. They'll show a lot of Monk, but I do like that show. They show a lot of Murder, She Wrote, but that show went on forever. And the good thing about Murder, She Wrote, it's not an exciting show, but the guest stars were all cool people from the past.
Yeah, exactly. So you could. It's nice seeing them.
It's nice
like
seeing
an old.
them. Yeah. It's like the old folks' home or something,
Yeah, it's like the Love Boat, but better.
But the story's on. But I like Monk because it's funny. But Murder She Wrote's kind of whatever. It's not that whatever, but it's cool people. But they do like 6-hour blocks of them.
Yeah, it's just like come on.
I don't, whatever. It is what it is. But back then it was like there was less, there was more. They had more movies. They had more TV shows that were cool. And then when the independent stations came on, boy, sky's the limit there. What I mean? More monster movies, more repeats of old TV shows, wrestling, you name it. All the independent channels. Because when we used to have like ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, they would just show their stuff. They wouldn't show that many repeats. Maybe during the day they might have a movie, in the morning, maybe a repeat, or
usually around 10 o'clock they had a movie, and about 4:30 they would have a
right
movie.
before the news.
Yeah, right before the news. And
yeah,
then
and then their local show, their big time shows or whatever.
Yeah, and then TV started to go downhill when those hour-long infomercials.
Yes.
Infomercials.
They ruined
started.
the Late Show. They totally ruined the Late Show.
They ruined everything.
Well, that's when they, because the FCC used to have strict restrictions on that, and then when they loosened all the restrictions, not only did they start showing infomercials, but they were allowed big companies to buy up all the stations, whereas in the olden days, from what I read, a big company could only maybe own 5 or 6.
Right.
Now they can own everything. So basically, it's like all it is. Well, I don't want to get. Well, we are on BitChute, so we can get conspiratorial. It's Big Brother. It's Big Brother. It's one big company's going to own everything, and you're going to watch what they want you to watch. You know.
Yeah.
That's why they want to get rid of local. We need to have local back so we can have a difference, and we don't have to watch like, okay, back then you may have 3 indie channels. They showed 3 different things. Now all the independent channels are the CW or some feed that they get from whatever, and they show the same crap.
Yeah, they show the same.
The
crap.
Goldbergs. Every freaking channel is showing the repeats of the Goldbergs, and there was another show that repeats a lot, but it's like, oh man, come on. You gotta have something better than that. But then again, I have Roku. There's a ton of channels out there. If you know how to work the thing, which isn't easy for older people, I can do it still, but my mom cannot do it. If you know how to work the Roku and play around and show the channels, you can see a lot of crap. There's commercials, but you see a lot of crap.
Thankfully, the streaming channels.
You got one. You got Roku.
Yeah, I got Roku, and there's a lot. So you get like.
You get Pluto. You get Plex. You get their own
Comet.
channel. You get Comet TV.
There's a bunch of ones like old sci-fi, old film noir.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of things.
It's out there, but you really gotta maneuver and look around and know the technology. Back then the technology was click, 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 change the channel. That's it. So. In
fact, you could. I remember a time when cable first came out. You could buy a scrambler.
I remember that. We had one.
Yeah, we did too. My dad bought it. I don't know, like $59, and you could adjust the channels. Or $25, and then you just hit the different channels to get the different, the different cable feeds, and then they started scrambling.
When we moved to our townhouse, the guy who sold us the place as a gift, he gave us a bottle of champagne, and he gave us 2 cable scramblers, so you could watch every channel, including the dirty channels.
Ah, there you go.
So we had so it's like you had the Adam and Eve channel, the Playboy channel. It was like nice, but then within like 3 or 4 years, they figured out how to screw it up or whatever, But those I remember this. I remember the descramblers. Yeah.
The scrambler. Yeah, you can see advertisements for them in just about everywhere.
I remember those days. Oh man, I miss that.
It's just a simple black box, and it.
Yep, that was it. That was it. And every channel you get HBO, you get Showtime, you get Cinemax, you get the movie channel, you get whatever. We used to get, the scramble used to do. We used to get pay-per-view shows. Like I remember watching the Woodstock 2. It was on there because it was on the pay-per-view. We would get the pay-per-view for free. It was those 3 or 4 years that we had that scrambler were fantastic.
Yeah.
So they figured out how to screw us over. Hey, they were losing money, so I don't blame them. Whatever. But that was technology back then. We're in a different world now, so and it's not so great.
No.
But anyway, but our movie was great. And you know what? Now that you mentioned Topper, there's been a movie that I keep forgetting that I really enjoy, and I want to watch it next time. It's called Topper Returns, and for some reason I really enjoy this movie. And you can get it on, you can find it on YouTube. It's got Joan Blondell, and it's kind of like a mystery horror comedy, but I really like it. So let's watch that one next.
Yeah, we'll watch it for next
Some old time. I love early Joan Blondell. She was there was something about her.
Yeah.
She was a saucy gal, let's put it that way.
Yes, she was.
There's some nice nudie pictures of her from.
Yeah, I know. I stumbled across.
You stumbled across them, huh?
I was looking for something on what was it? Here Come the Brides, because she was on Here Come the Brides.
Oh, she was. Oh, that was way later.
And every once in a while, I look at who's the cast, and I just like check out pages and older pictures of them, and then it's like, whoa!
And you're like, holy moly!
Holy moly!
It's like, how the hell are you? Yeah.
So you're 13-year-old again. Woo!
Exactly right. I really like those pictures of her. So anybody out there, you know what to do now. But it's a fun movie actually. It's a weird movie because we'll watch it and we'll talk about it next time. Anyway, well, let's get going because we've been here a while. We've had technical difficulties, and but I think we figured it out. So, yeah, War of the Gargantuas, 2 thumbs up.
Yep.
And so we'll be back in a couple of weeks. And Roddy, what do you want the people out there to do?
I want people to watch more movies
and come back and watch our show too.
Yes.
Watch the B movies, but listen to us talk. Because you can't watch us, but you can watch the little screen, the little slideshow that I do. Anyway, that's it.
Yes.